so I have more materials which will help you to improve your level of English. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press a like button on this video. 18-year-old Peter Hansen is working for Volunteer Africa for a month. He's building a new school in a village in Tanzania with 4 other volunteers. At the moment, we're talking to him about his project. What do you think of Tanzania? It's an interesting place. I like it here because people are friendly, but it's very different from home. The village doesn't have electricity or running water, so we cook over a fire and carry water from a river. Life is hard. What do you do every day? I get up at 7 a.m. because I always start work early. It's a difficult job, especially when it's hot, and it's very hot in the summer. We often finish at 12:30 p.m. and we don't usually work in the afternoons. However, I sometimes teach English to the children in the village or we play a game of football in the evening. I'm never bored. Are you working on the school today? Well, I'm not working right now because it's 1 o'clock. This afternoon, I'm learning Swahili. What are you doing this week? We're painting in a classroom on Thursday, but we aren't working this Friday because the school is opening. We're organizing a party and we're very excited about it. Around the world on the number 7 train. It's 8:15 in the morning and Manuela Garcia is on her way to college in New York City. She's sitting on the number 7 train and she's doing her homework, but she hasn't got much space. 2 Chinese women are sitting next to her. They're laughing and chatting in Cantonese. A young man is on the other side. He's listening to Shakira on his MP3 player and eating some tacos. Then an old woman gets on the train and sits down nearby. She's wearing a sari and she's reading a book in Hindi. At Jackson Heights, the old woman gets off. It's raining outside and Manuela can see Indian and Pakistani shops in the street below. Welcome to the International Express, the most international train journey in the world. Every day, some of New York's 3 million immigrants take the number 7 train from Queens to Manhattan, and each stop is like a different country. Get off at Flushing Station and experience China, go to Corona and you're in Mexico. The next stop is India at Jackson Heights. Many immigrants are from Latin America, Eastern Europe, Africa, or Asia. If you listen carefully, you can hear more than 100 different languages. So why is this train so popular? 100 years ago, most immigrants lived in Manhattan, but by 1910, Manhattan was overcrowded and life was very difficult. Then, in 1917, things improved thanks to a new train to a suburb called Queens. Immigrants moved out of the city because there was more space in Queens, but they could still get to work in Manhattan. These first immigrants came to New York to escape poverty and war and to have a better life. Today, people come from the same reasons. Manuela Garcia's family is typical. Her father, Thomas, came from Mexico in 1986 and sold tacos from a small food stall next to Corona Station. Thomas got through hard times, saved his money and bought a bakery. Today, the jukebox there plays Mexican songs and satellite TV shows Mexican TV programs. We're proud of our culture, but the bakery is not just for Mexicans, says Thomas. We have Polish and Turkish customers too. We all get on with each other. The train speeds past LaGuardia Airport as the rain stops and the sun comes out. Manuela looks out of the window and watches the planes take off. People are getting away to experience the world. Manuela smiles. She doesn't need to go to faraway countries. The world is right there on the number 7 train. Exchange Magazine, what's new? Every year, thousands of students go on our exchange programs all over the world. This month, we want to hear from you, so send us a letter about your experience of being on exchange program. We want to know what you're learning, what's different, what's similar, and what's new. Check out this page for the best 2 letters next month. Dear Exchange, I'm on an exchange program in Barcelona and it's great. My host family is lovely and I'm already best friends with their son Philippe. We have a lot in common. We're both keen on football and neither of us likes maths. Many things are similar. School starts at the same time and the subjects are like the subjects I study at home. I'm not feeling homesick at the moment because people are very friendly. Other things are different. It's warm and sunny, in contrast to England, where it rains all the time. Meal times are different too. We always eat late at 9 o'clock and we often have paella. It's typical Spanish food. Of course, the language is not the same and I'm sometimes ashamed of my Spanish, but Philippe helps me. It's Saturday today, so I'm not going to school. I'm going to the beach with Philippe. Then I'm watching Barcelona play at Camp Nou Stadium. The exchange program is a great way to see the world, make new friends, and learn a new language. Yours, Conrad. Hi, Exchange. This is my first letter from London. My host family are nice, but their daughter Helen is quite shy, unlike me. We have nothing in common. A lot of a lot of things are different here. London is an interesting city, but it's expensive, and the people are different from people in Australia. They're not as friendly. Everyday life is different too. Meal times are quite early, and we don't go out in the evening. We usually watch TV. Other things are the same. Food is the same as the food at home. School is similar to Australian schools too. People are curious about Australia and they often ask me questions. I've made some friends here and we usually play basketball at break time. It's just like home. Right now I'm feeling homesick. I'm fed up with the rain, but this weekend we're going to the Science Museum and I'm excited about that. It's a challenge to live in a new country, but it's also a great opportunity to try new things. Yours, Jenny. World Kindness Day. In 1963, Mr. Seiji Kaya was a teacher at Tokyo University. Every day, Mr. Kaya took the train to work. At 8 a.m., one February morning, he was waiting for his train. It was snowing and a lot of people were at the station. Mr. Kaya was getting on the train when a man stole his bag. He shouted for help, but no one tried to stop the thief. Mr. Kaya was upset, but no one asked if he was okay. In fact, no one talked to him at all. After this bad experience, Mr. Kaya started to encourage his students to be brave and practice small acts of kindness every day. He wanted to create a wave of kindness across Japan, so he started the Small Kindness Movement. In 1997, 13th of November became World Kindness Day, and today people celebrate it all over the world. What's in a name? Last year I was traveling through Australia. I often stopped at places with strange or unusual names. Names like Morwillenbach or Waterloo. I often asked myself, where do all these names come from and what can we learn from them? Local people sometimes knew the answer and sometimes they didn't, so I decided to look at these place names more closely and found out some interesting facts. Many place names give us a clue because they describe physical characteristics like big hill, dry desert, or tall tree. Thousands of years ago, this is how the first Australians, the Aborigines, named places. Today in Australia, there are thousands of places with Aboriginal names, towns like Murwillumbah, Good Campsite, Nambucca, Entrance to the Sea, Bondi Beach from the word Bondi, the sound of water falling over rocks, and Uluru, Big Rock. How often do you look in your fridge? And what's in it? Look at what you eat in a day and multiply that by the millions of people all over the world. All of those people, all that food, where does it come from? Should we care? A recent study shows that more and more teenagers are not eating a healthy diet. We asked 17-year-old student Tanya Fairhurst to keep a food diary to see what a typical teenager eats and drinks. Does she eat any fruit and vegetables? Are there many hamburgers in her diet? Is there much juice? Read on and find out. I woke up late for college, so I didn't eat any breakfast. My mom leaves for work before I'm awake. She left me some cereal, but I threw it away. I had some orange juice instead. Lunch. My dad gives me money every week for my lunches, but I'd use it to buy magazines and CDs, so there's not much money left for food. Today I had some biscuits instead of lunch. Dinner. By 5 p.m. I was hungry, so I had a little peanut butter on bread for a snack. But I didn't eat any vegetables. For dinner, I had a burger. I don't have many big meals because I want to stay slim. Breakfast. I had some bread and drank a lot of water. I was still hungry, but I don't know how to cook, so I didn't eat any more. Lunch. I drank a few glasses of orange juice, then I had a banana, some chocolate, and a few crisps. I know you should eat 5 portions of fruit and vegetables a day. I sometimes eat fruit, but I don't eat many vegetables. I hate salad. Dinner. I ate quite well this evening because I had dinner with my family. We had soup, chicken, baked potatoes, peppers, and broccoli, but I didn't eat any soup or potatoes. I had some apple juice before I went to bed. Bill Bryson is a famous writer who grew up in America. He visited England in 1973, then moved there a few years later after he got married. It's the place where he wrote Notes from a Small Island, a book about life in England. In 1995, the year when he returned to the USA, he wrote Notes from a Big Country. This extract is about a visit to an American supermarket. Bill goes shopping with his wife, whose opinions about food are very different from his. In the supermarket, there is a lot of junk food which you can only find in America. It's food that Bill Bryson likes. Tanya, don't forget your lunchbox. It's on the third shelf above the burgers. Working late tonight, so I can't cook dinner, but there's pizza in the fridge and some fruit, e.g., bananas and apples. See you later, Mom. Helen, just wanted to say thanks for the flowers. Lovely surprise to find them on my desk. They're beautiful, especially the yellow roses. Lily. Kelly's birthday on Saturday. Holly planning surprise party. Want to come? Party at 7:30 p.m. Gusta Pizza, Baker Street. I'll be there from 7, helping with decoration, lights, etc. RSVP to Holly if you can make it. Tanya. Hurry, color printer not working. Need to fix it ASAP. Can you call the electrician? N. Buy more paper too. We moved to the city last year. Our new house isn't as big as our old house, so I share a room with my sister. It's not a problem for me, but my sister hates it. I'm not as tidy as she is. She often complains that the room is too messy and that there isn't enough space for 2 people. She's a year older than me, but I'm as tall as she is. I sometimes borrow her clothes. Then I forget to put them back, and that really annoys her. Why can't she just relax? I share a room with my brother. I'm not as old as he is, and he has more homework than me. He always does his homework in the bedroom, and that causes problems. We often argue. If I play my music or talk on my mobile, he complains that it's too noisy to work. I don't mind sharing, but he isn't as relaxed as I am. He says the room isn't big enough for both of us. It's too small to share. A house with a history. Imagine living in a huge house, a house so big that you don't know how many rooms it has. Lady Carnarvon, owner of Highclere Castle, is not sure about the number of rooms, but she does know that Highclere is one of the biggest houses in England. From the outside, the castle looks like the House of Parliament in London. In fact, the same person, Sir Charles Barry, built both places. In the 19th century, many wealthy people decided to show off and built massive houses, and the Carnarvons did the same. When Barry finished building Highclere in 1842, the castle had more than 50 rooms, including one room with a 15-meter high ceiling. But this room was only used on special occasions. Today, Highclere is one of the most expensive houses in Britain, worth more than £150 million. Country houses like Highclere sometimes had hundreds of servants. These servants got up before their employers and carried on working after their employers were in bed. They lived in rooms in the basement or attic and used a small staircase at the back of the house. They went up and down the stairs all day, cleaning or carrying water, meals, or coal for the fires. The work tire the servants out, but they managed to do it. Rooms for the family upstairs were more comfortable, although family life was very different then. Children didn't spend much time with their parents. They grew up in a separate part of the house and a nanny looked after them. You can still see the family rooms and servants' rooms at Highclere today and find out more about everyday life. Do you want to learn about ancient Egypt? Visit Highclere and find out about its famous Egyptian connection. In 1922, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon and the archaeologist Howard Carter opened the tomb of Tutankhamun in the Valley of the Kings. Unfortunately, a few weeks later, Lord Carnarvon died from a mosquito bite. Many people thought that the pharaoh's curse brought about his death. Today you can read about his discovery in the castle's Egyptian exhibition and make up your own mind. Nowadays, Highclere is one of the most well-known homes in Britain, but it's not because of its interesting past or its Egyptian treasures. Highclere is also the star of a British TV show called Downton Abbey. The show is all about the life of a wealthy family in 1910s, and more than 10 million viewers enjoy watching it every week. Fans love coming to Highclere and many hope to see their favorite actors too. My space, my world. This week we want to know all about your personal space. What things do you have in your room? Email us a description of your room, including the 3 words which best describe it. The most entertaining description will appear in next month's magazine. My mom says my room is a pigsty. She doesn't understand how I can live in such a mess. I tell her to close the door and stop worrying. Yes, there are clothes on the floor, but it's not very messy, and I know where everything is. In fact, I think my room is quite comfortable. When I was 10, I pretended to be a Spider-Man, jumped off my bed, and banged my head on the bookcase. The bookcase is still in my room, but today it's full of books like The Hunger Games. There aren't any Spider-Man comics now. In my room there is a bed, a desk, and a chair. There are some posters on the wall and a really nice photo of my family. When I look out of my window, I can see shops, restaurants, and a bus stop. It's always busy outside and a bit noisy, but it's interesting. My desk is next to the window, so I get a good view of the street when I'm doing my homework. It's a small room, but it's incredibly small, said my best friend when she first saw my bedroom. She's right, it's tiny and a bit dark, but it's also very special. When I walk through the door, the first things you see are a rather small bed and a really big poster on the wall. The poster is of Orlando Bloom and Elizabethtown, my favorite romantic film of all time. There isn't much space in my room, so it's not very tidy. Right next to my bed is a dusty old bookcase full of textbooks and music magazines. I like reading vampire stories, so there are a lot of Twilight books there too. On top of the bookcase, there are some family photos and my pink MP3 player. That's my most prized possession apart from my guitar. Opposite the bookcase is a small red desk. It's the messiest part of my bedroom because there's homework everywhere. Then, at the side of my desk, there is a big bean bag. It's extremely comfortable, so I often relax there and listen to music. My friends like to sit there when they visit too. The 3 words that best describe my room are cozy, slightly messy, and quite original. It's my own private space and I love spending time there. Work in pairs, look at the photos and the chart, answer the questions. Are you afraid of the dark, small spaces, large crowds, heights, spiders, public speaking, flying, injections, exams, open spaces? Fauci started running when he was 89 years old, and you may wonder why. When his wife died, he moved from India to the UK to be with his son. He wanted something to focus on, and running provided that. Fauja ran his first race in 1992 and since then has run marathons around the world. He's also broken many records and he's made a lot of money for charity too. When Fauja sign runs marathon, he never gives up. He always carries on. I don't want to stop, he says. I want to die running, and that's why I admire him. Fauja Singh is a person I admire. Fauja shows that old people can achieve amazing things, just like young people. In 2011, when Fauja was 100 years old, he became the oldest person to run a marathon. That's an incredible achievement. The world's youngest head teacher. This week's amazing story comes all the way from India. We think that Ali's school will make a big difference to his village. It's 2 o'clock and 16-year-old Babar Ali has just got back from school in West Bengal. It's been a long day, but he isn't going to relax or play with his friends. What is he going to do? He's going to teach the children from his village what he learned today. Babar Ali has got his own school. He's the world's youngest head teacher. Babar Ali started teaching when he was 9 years old. At first, he taught friends as a game, but then he decided to do it seriously and help poor children in his village. There are other schools outside the village, but Babar Ali's school is different because it's free. It also gives students free books. Ali thinks that children won't go to school which has fees because their parents can afford it. His school is their only chance to have an education. I promise I'll help them learn, he says. It's 2:15 p.m. and children are arriving at the school, but there are big black clouds in the sky. It's going to rain and the classrooms are outside. Ali looks at the clouds and makes a difficult decision. We'll close the school today, he says, but he has a plan. He's going to raise money for a new building so the school can stay open all the time. The rain starts and the children run home. Will they come back tomorrow? Of course they will. They are hungry to learn and they want a better future. That's what Babar Ali wants to. Pili Village, China. The road to education is sometimes a very narrow path. Twice a year, a group of 80 children travel through their village in the mountains to a school in Taxkorgan, 190 kilometers away. They get to the school in 3 days when the weather is good, but when the weather is bad, it takes them a week. There are no roads to the village, so the children travel across the mountains and rivers. The most dangerous part of their journey is a narrow path along the side of a 300-meter cliff. If they slip, they'll fall into the valley below. Every year, teachers worry about this path. If anything happens, what will we tell their parents, says one. But the danger doesn't end there. After the mountain path, there are narrow bridges over deep rivers. The children won't fall if they are careful, but some have slipped in the past. Fortunately, no one was hurt. What do the children think about the trip? According to one teacher, they enjoy the adventure, but at the moment the government is building a road to the school. Everyone hopes they'll finish it this year. If they do, the children won't have to risk their lives again. What are arguments for and against school uniforms? There have always been a lot of arguments about school uniforms. In Britain, 65% of students don't like them. However, I think that school uniforms are a necessary part of school life. On the one hand, some people argue that school uniforms are boring. Everyone looks the same in a uniform and you can't express yourself. But your clothes are only one way of saying who you are. Other people complain that school uniforms are expensive. Some parents can't afford uniforms, so their children do not go to school. This is a bad thing. On the other hand, school uniforms can save parents money because they are cheaper than fashionable clothes. In addition, the idea behind school uniforms is to make everyone look the same so you can tell the difference between rich and poor. Although children might still get bullied for other reasons, they won't get bullied for their clothes. School uniforms make you feel part of something bigger too. They show that students are proud to belong to their school. In conclusion, I think that school uniforms are a good idea. Although they are expensive for some people, it is important for students to feel part of a community, to work together and help each other to learn. School uniforms represent this unity. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching this video.